One of the biggest challenges I have faced as a female athlete growing up would probably be the lack of media exposure around athletics and just any female sport, to be honest. Like, I always felt kind of guilty growing up because I didn't know many big female athlete names, and I feel like now we are taking the right step towards that, but it would have been something I would have liked to have growing up.
I think I'm really lucky. Volleyball is definitely a more female-dominated sport here, and there's lots of great female role models across the sport and across our organisation. But I think we kind of face some of the same challenges that all women in sport face. Probably the biggest one is like actually being educated on your body and like your menstrual cycle and how that affects your performance, and accepting that and being able to deal with that. I think as I've gotten older and become more in tune with my body, I realise there are days where I'm going to be awesome and there are days where I'm not going to be quite so good. And fueling my body, resting my body, challenging my body when I can, and understanding that. The education that's needed around that has definitely been a challenge. I've had to go look for that.
Well, I think this happens to a lot of women in sports. Growing up, I was playing basketball, so a lot of times people don't take women basketball players as seriously as male basketball players. So a lot of times, like, just the average Joe kind of would think he could beat me at a sport, even if he's never played basketball before, just because I'm a woman. So I think it's like a lot of people underestimate how much skill is involved in women's sports and how much like dedication is needed. It's equal to men's, and I think that's not always shown.
So there are challenges in the way that your body is supposed to look. I think women can be scared to look too muscly or too strong. However, there are a lot of women these days in sports, such as Ilona Maher, who is showing how important it is to be powerful and strong in your sport.
Not always about, them people not supporting you, because people want to support women's rugby, but I think it's just more getting those opportunities to really get an audience for it as well. A lot of people want to follow the men's rugby team here. The football team has 10,000 followers, and it's about getting more of UCD involved in women's rugby. If you support, if you want to play, that's just what we want more of.
Playing Gaelic football, it's like people go to watch men's Gaelic games, they're heading to Croke Park to see these big games go up, but then when it's a women's league, it's not as interesting per se, because they're there's not as much contact, it's not as quick pace and everything, but in reality we are playing the same sport and we are equally as good at it.
I'm very used to being told that I can't do this. I remember one of my core memories in trampoline, I was told when I first showed up that I wasn't going to be big enough to bounce high because I'm very small. So I stuck with it and I showed them that I can bounce higher than most people. So